set of getting down to business. My name's Stephanie Wilson, the Senior Regional Manager for Techtronic Industries, and I'm here today with Victoria.
Hi, I'm Victoria Ferrara, and I'm a field and sales marketing rep for Techtronic Industries.
So thank you, Stephanie and Victoria, for the introduction. That was exciting for season 7, changing things up. I'm Jill Brown, one of the many academic advisors with the Muma College of Business.
And I'm Ashley Curtis, Assistant Director for the Bishop Center for Ethical Leadership. Be on the lookout for all of the events that we have coming up for you this upcoming year. But back to today's episode. Jill, I am so excited because the guest that we have with us today, such amazing energy, and we are going to learn all about Techtronic Industries and the leaders they are revolutionizing cordless power technology.
Yeah, and for our students, it's going to be some interesting conversation for sure.
Yeah. All right, let's get to it.
Our listeners are used to this. They know we like to get to know our guests a little bit more with a question or two. And so I'll ask each of you, if you could describe a pivotal moment or experience in your life that significantly shaped who you are today and how you view the world.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start with that one. I think something that we all can relate to is COVID, right? I think it was a time of our lives that we were all pushed out the door and faced with reality. It taught me a ton about isolation and how to overcome that isolation. And something I learned from that, it's a quote I live by every single day, is to be comfortable in the uncomfortable, right? During COVID, you were by yourself. And I had to think of a time, how do I stand out and become me and make a name for myself? So really just pushing myself every single day to get out of my comfort zone and what I know that makes me feel safe and really just be comfortable in the uncomfortable.
Great advice. I kind of want to forget COVID, but
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I mean,
We're
we
working
can't.
towards that.
She's a glass half full gal.
We can't. All right, Victoria.
I would definitely say one thing for me was when I was 6 years old, we moved to Brazil. That's where my mom's from. And we lived there for 6 years, just hopping around, moving around in Brazil.
Yeah.
And that definitely shaped me into who I am today. Because I learned how to adapt at an early age. I learned how to be open-minded, and I met so many different people from different walks of life. And I think it just shaped me into who I am today. And now I use all of those skills that I learned in Brazil and just traveling at a young age in my job now.
Yeah.
So it definitely helped.
That's something that I try to kind of encourage. I was about to say push, but I'll say encourage students to consider like a travel abroad, study abroad if you've never left Florida to get out there,
important.
right?
Challenge yourself,
Yeah.
like she said. Try to be uncomfortable comfortable in the
it's
uncomfortable.
It's a similar experience to COVID
Yeah.
because you can feel isolated and alone, and you have to reach out and make connections.
When you're on your own, you're forced to learn other things, other people.
Right.
So I'm a big advocate to live somewhere else, try new things.
Fantastic. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thank you.
So now that our guests have gotten to know you both a little bit, and I love what you both shared, because I think when I think about when I was in college and growing up, that was one of the things that was shared, was getting uncomfortable. And Victoria, as I'm hearing you talk about the adaptability, I'm thinking our listeners who are listening right now should be thinking of, like, this is good advice of if I'm ever in an interview room, like these are the types of conversations where they can talk about like adaptability and skills and how that translates into the work that they're doing. But to get down to business and into today's interview, let's get more into Techtronic Industries. And why don't you guys share a little bit with us more about the company? So who you are, how long the company has been around, and the types of clients and products and services. I see you've got some of them on your polos, but I'll hand it over to you guys to talk a little bit more.
Yeah, I'll take this one away. So TTI, Techtronic Industries, we're the world's largest power tool consumer company. So I think kind of out of the norm, you think business, sales, all of that, but we lead the industry in everything we do, from cordless innovation to power tool companies. So we own and acquire different brands: Milwaukee, Ryobi, Rigid, Hoover, Dirt Devil. I always say, you name it, we do it. But we have careers in sales, marketing, management, and operations. For a company perspective, all of our brands together, we just closed out at $14 billion. And that's insane, right? I think you think of these big companies, Lululemon, Under Armour, but we're double the size of them, if not more. So everything we do for all of our brands is done in-house through our leadership development program, which is something we started in 2007, where we every single person in our company starts as that field sales and marketing representative. So that's what Victoria does right now. And that's where I started my career as well. But in that role, you're partnered with Home Depot, selling to contractors, customers, homeowners, DIYers, helping them get the needs that they want for the everyday projects. And then from there, you're figuring out, where do you want to go? So I had a passion for people and sales, and I'm a little bit competitive. So ultimately went into management, and that's where my career path has taken me, from a territory manager to a regional manager, now to my current position as a senior regional. And what's really cool is that I don't have to stay in management. So I can go to sales next, I can go to marketing, whatever I feel I'm best suited for. And then that's exactly what Victoria is doing right now, kind of figuring out, hey, what's next for me?
Yeah, I mean, that was like a home run. That was perfect. That was the whole company in a summary. But I think what I would add to that I really do love about the position that I am in right now, is the representation role. Like, not only, like, yeah, everybody comes in, they know what they're going to buy when they come in. I don't really have to sell my brand because all of our brands sell themselves, but we represent our company very well, and we represent our brands, and we bring trust to the brand. A lot of our customers, you know, they're so repetitive because they trust us, and they trust that we're going to be there every day from 7 to 3:30, no matter what. And they always come in, and they always look for us. So I think that's great, because a lot of the brands that are in there don't have representation. So we're bringing trust to the brand.
And that's huge. I think so. As someone who is an expert in leadership, you're speaking to my heart right now, because when we talk about leadership and we're talking about what good leadership means, a lot of that comes down to trust, right? So if you are building that trust with your clients and future clients coming in, I think it's a great way to build a brand, which is what's helping you get to where you are right now.
Exactly.
I'm curious, kind of diving a little bit more into the leadership development program that you just mentioned. What do you think are some of the unique opportunities that leadership development, and I get to see it's clearly offering you exposure to different parts of the job, but what do you think are some of the other benefits that it's giving TTI employees?
Yeah, I think it's not just the day-to-day. I think, look, if you look at the first role, it's not glamorous, right? You're working in a Home Depot, you're selling to customers, you're selling power tools. I'm a female selling power tools. Like, that doesn't sound normal. And for me, I used to be a first grade teacher.
Wow.
So what I've learned from this company is the tangible skill sets. And that's what the leadership development program has to offer. Yes, we lead the industry and we have phenomenal products, and it's kind of cool. It's like a cult-like following. Like, everybody loves our tools and our products, but I've learned to love that. I didn't join the company to sell power tools and work within a Home Depot. I joined the company because of what it had to offer. And it's those tangible skill sets, the adaptability, the organization, the time management. That's what the leadership development program has to offer. And I think other companies, you know, you might be in a role for 4, 5, 6, 7 years before you're ever considered for a promotion. We don't have timeframes at our company. So what you put in is truly what you're going to get out. And that's right there what sets us apart.
Yeah. They really invest in us, the company. They trust in us to manage our own store. And I mean, like she said, it's $1 billion company. So just my store alone last year did $152 million in volume. So it is a lot, and it's a big, like we said, trust. And they trust in us, and they invest in us, and they're always supporting us. So if I ever have any questions, I go to my manager, Stephanie, and I ask her, and she's more than willing to help, and she'll even come and work with me. So it's a great company to be with, for sure.
Awesome. Thank you both. I think we've kind of started diving into this next question a little bit, but to go a little bit further. So you just mentioned you started out as a first grade teacher. How did you get into TTI, and how did you get to where you're at today?
Yeah, I love telling my story because it's unique, right? I think 5-year-old me, we've all been asked by our parents, what are you going to be when you grow up? My answer never changed. I was going to be a teacher. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. I went to school, graduated with 2 degrees in education, and taught first grade and said, hold on, pump the brakes. This is not it for me. And I think the one thing I learned was that I love coaching, I love developing, I love working with others, and I just needed to find something that I was suited to do the same with. And ultimately, I found TTI from other people I knew that worked with the company, and I actually said I would never work for the company. I'm a very independent person, and I didn't didn't want to, I don't know, have that handout. But then I kept applying to these jobs and I would get offers and they sounded fantastic. But I'm like, hold on. I would always ask this one question in the interviews is, what's the culture like? What keeps you here every single day? And it was so black and white. And I was like, cool, I don't want to work for you. And so, candidly, and so I just kept sitting and having this internal battle. And I'm like, everything kept bringing me back to TTI. Every single person I knew that worked for the company, I feel like I already worked for the company. They all loved their jobs. They loved what they did. They wouldn't shut up about it. And I was like, why would I not join a company like that? You say, enjoy what you do and you'll never work a day in your life. That's a lie. You're going to keep working. But if you enjoy what you do, it definitely makes it better. And that's ultimately what drew me to TTI.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, Victoria?
I actually, my journey is very long and very broad. I've worked a lot of jobs, but all have been retail or customer relationship. It's all been the same concept. And I think networking, honestly, is a part of every job that you're in. So it's a great skill to have. But I did real estate for 4 years, and I loved it, but I just didn't really love the instability of it in the market. So I was always looking for something different. And I ended up just going up to one of the reps in our store, the realtor and me, the door knocker. So I just went up to her and asked her about her job. And she was kind enough to sit down with me and tell me about it. And, I was looking around, but I just was very drawn to it. I was very drawn to, one, the work-life balance. I am a big advocate of that. I think you should always have a work-life balance because you'll just be healthier and happier in your job, no matter what you're doing. And honestly, just like she said, the culture. Everybody loved their job. Everybody was so happy, and the team is awesome. Everybody loves each other. I've never heard of a team that really likes each other. So we're really good together, and I have no complaints. I've been with them for over 7 months now, and I don't see myself leaving anytime soon.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I want to make a couple of notes of a couple things you both said for our listeners. So I think firstly, and this is something that I've heard throughout my career too, right? Culture is such an important part, right? We're at our jobs more time than we are at home,
Yep.
Unless we're working remotely, but we're around the people that we work with a lot. And so I think it's really important to hone in on when you are applying to jobs, thinking about what is the culture like? And so, Stephanie, I love that you're sitting in this curiosity of, is this a culture? Is this a place? And not being afraid to say, no, this is not a good fit for me, until it felt like it was a good fit for you. The other thing that I wanted to point out is this alinear career path, right? A lot of times I think it's really easy for us to think, oh, if I start here and I'm a marketing major or a finance major, my end goal is going to be a financial planner or brand management or whatever that might be, right? My major translates into X, Y, or Z. Mm-hmm. And I mean, speaking for myself, right? I went to school. I thought I was going to go into medicine. And over the course of my career, I ended up changing from pre-med to journalism to, after I got my degree in journalism, 4 years later, went back and got a master's in higher education to now where I'm at, right? So as we are growing and our values are constantly evolving, we're changing and those values are changing. So I think that a linear career path is also really important to note. And then that last piece of Victoria, to your point of just being a door knocker, right? Mm-hmm. But it's essentially what you did was an informational interview, right? Yeah. So if we're wanting to learn more about certain careers, go up to someone, have that conversation.
Ask.
Yeah.
The worst they're going to say is no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say one thing, as I love Victoria's story because it's quite literally the example of being comfortable in the uncomfortable. How hard is it to put yourself out there? It is so awkward. It's uncomfortable. But she was like, hey, I kind of like what you do.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. And that's what got her the job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people are too afraid to try something new or to ask questions. But you shouldn't be. Because the worst they're going to say is no, they're not going to bite you. It's just everyone has questions, everyone's curious. It's good to be curious.
Yeah.
You should be. And if you change jobs multiple times, oh well, like that wasn't for you, you'll find something that's for you, and you're going to grow from it either way. I've learned so many skills from all the jobs that I've had, and I don't regret a single one. It doesn't make me a quitter. It just means I tried, I didn't like it, I'm trying something new.
Yep.
I think that's something to live by.
Such a great mindset to have.
All right, this has been great. I love your stories, your energy, and I think it's nice to see for students, and as Ashley was already saying, all of us have taken different paths to get where we are right now, and it's definitely not going to be the end of our journeys. But to help students understand a little bit more, like why they might be interested or ask some questions to you all, reach out. Victoria, you were here on campus for our
Mhm.
Pathways to Professions in Management
Yes,
series,
ma'am.
right?
Yep.
And I guess within that, you mentioned like where you usually start. Would you mind either of you discussing some of the career pathways, like again, how you start and then what your options might be?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the one thing that sets TTI apart from everybody, I mentioned I was a first grade teacher, and Ashley talked about going from pre-med to now into higher education. And it's important to know, I think as a 20-year-old, you're supposed to be hit with the real world of what do you want to be when you grow up? And you have 4 years to figure it out. And how are you supposed to decide what you're going to do for the next 40 years at 20 years old? I don't know. And that's what TTI has to offer, right? So in that first role, you're that field sales and marketing representative, but everything we do for all of our brands is done in-house. So we don't outsource anything except for maybe our engineers. I will probably never become an engineer and design our batteries, but we would not be successful. We would not be a $14 billion company if that happened. But what we have is everybody starts in that role, and you're getting to dabble with the sales, the marketing, the management, the operations side of it, really figuring out what works for me. And I think one thing that I've been able to see through my 3 years of management with the company is I have people that come in and, I'm onboarding them and I say, where do you want to go with the company? And they're like, I'm a marketing major. I'm going into marketing. Fantastic. And we work towards that marketing goal. And then halfway through, their time as a rep, they're like, I really want to go into management. And that's what TTI is, right? So we have those opportunities that when you figure out this maybe isn't for me, all I ever knew was marketing or sales, and then you find out you have great leadership characteristics and you want to go into management or HR, whatever it might be, that's what TTI is. So in that first role, you're getting to navigate the sales, the marketing, the management, the operations until you figure out what's next for you.
So do you have some training in each different area, or you're just exposed to those?
So you're a little bit of both, right?
Okay.
So that first role, you're assigned a specific Home Depot. So for example, Victoria works at the Home Depot. I'm not going to say where just for privacy reasons, but if you go around St. Pete, you might find her. But she's there, and that store, out of the 145 millions that Home Depot does each year, we make up $6 million of that business. So she has a $6 million business that she's in charge of.
Wow.
So with that, she's doing the management. She's doing the operations. She's getting to do the marketing, getting strategic. Right now we have a promotion going on and it's ending in a few days. So she's really pushing different strategies to overdrive those sales and make the relationships. And that's in that first role, you're getting to firsthand navigate all of it. But then we also do shadow days. So as she's figuring out in this role where she wants to go, she's expressed interest in management. So she'll do a ride along with me and see what a day in the life for me looks like. Or if she wants sales, we'll put her with a sales rep with Milwaukee that's on the job sites, and she'll get to do that. And that's what you get to do in that first role. So as you kind of start navigating it and figuring out, maybe we start doing those shadow days. So a little bit of both.
Would you like to speak about your first?
It's funny because she mentioned like going into it thinking you want to do marketing. That's actually what I was always wanting to do. Like I thought marketing was going to be my way to go in this company.
Okay.
And it might be, never know. But I've recently started feeling kind of like I'm leaning towards management. We have an intern actually that's with us for the summer, and I've been really enjoying kind of navigating that because I've always thought of myself as like I'll do it myself. Like I don't like to ask people to do stuff for me. I'd rather just do it myself because I know it's going to get done. But now I'm learning to delegate and, let him take the reins and like do it himself. And it's kind of fun to like help teach and educate him and then kind of see where he goes with it and figures it out himself. And then he's all excited. So I've been really enjoying that. So I've definitely been leaning towards management, and she's super helpful. I mean, we can always shadow her, and, you know, she'll answer any questions that I have. So it's very nice.
Okay. And you mentioned a day in the life. And so our students, it's really nice if they can have that, what is it, kind of maybe expectations, because as we've already talked about, it's scary. It's awkward sometimes to ask those questions and put yourself out there. And so a podcast where they can watch at home or listen. And if you can give them a little insight into what a day in the life might look like.
Yeah, that's a tough question. But that, again, is the beauty of TTI, is that I can confidently say in the 3.5 years I've been with the company, I've never had 2 days that look the same.
Okay.
Which I love.
I think that's
I can't
why
do the mundane.
I was like, I want
Yeah.
TTI on the set, because when I heard it in the Pathways series, I heard that same, and I thought, to me, that's appealing.
Yeah,
I don't want
it's fun.
I don't want the same day.
Yeah, it keeps you
And
on your
it's
toes.
challenging. But anyway, I
Yeah.
interrupt. Go ahead.
No, totally. I think there's similarities in the day to day, but there's no, okay, 7 o'clock hits, I'm going to clock onto my computer, I'm going to do these reports, and then 3:30, I'm done, right? That's not us. So for example, right, Victoria has that business, and I'll let you speak on this because you speak on the day-to-day, but the average day-to-day is you have your business and you're representing Milwaukee, Ryobi, Rigid within the store. So anything from sales to merchandising to relationships, but I'll let you go more in depth on what does that day-to-day look like in a nutshell?
I mean, like she said, it's different every day. The store that I am in is very busy, very high volume. So I might be trying to get a task done and I just get interrupted every 5 seconds because customers have questions and they don't really have anyone to ask other than me. So I'm there for them.
Okay.
So that's the main priority. I'm always going to, cater to my customers, make sure everything's okay, that they have all the answers they need. But yeah, the company is always giving us tasks to do every day, which is nice. It keeps, I mean, if you aren't a good planner and you don't really know, like they always have a plan for you.
Okay.
But every day is different. I get to build relationships with my customers, with my managers. I work with corporate sometimes, which is really cool. You never think that you would meet people from Home Depot corporate. That's huge.
Yeah.
So you meet a lot of really great people, and marketing, still do marketing. I'm always having to come up with ideas to merchandise and get our products out there. I want people to come into Home Depot and only see Milwaukee and Ryobi, of course. So that's my main priority. We do a lot of data analytics. I'm always looking at my market, seeing how that's doing, making sure I'm getting all my products out. If I'm not, what can I do to make it better? So it's always a challenge. Every day is different. Never know.
I would say, kind of piggybacking off of that, is one thing. So we work within the Home Depot. We do not work for Home Depot. And so you're that manager of your own business in there. So you're doing anything to overdrive the sales. At the end of the day, Victoria and I are not in store right now. The product is still selling. But what did she do to contribute to those sales for on the weekend when she's not there, to really push in? Looking at the demographic, there's a Home Depot, there's 2 Home Depots within 3 miles of each other, completely different demographics. And so what the rep in one store is doing versus what Victoria is doing, it's different, right? They have to understand what's selling. One might be more homeowner based, one might be more contractor based. And then we go even further, right? So hurricanes. Our business thrives off of hurricanes because we have everything that people need. So that's where the reps have to get strategic and understand what's happening with the weather. Okay, there's a storm brewing right now. It's a 50% chance of becoming a storm. Now we need the mindset. Let's get fans out. Let's get chainsaws out. Let's get lights and radios out. And so always being 2 steps ahead to drive the business and understand, yes, we have the things that you have to do on a day-to-day. So there's a lot of this has to get done, but a lot of the independence as well.
Okay. So I'm curious, you mentioned an intern.
Yeah.
Is this your first intern?
This is my first intern.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And is there a typical protocol with interns? Like length of internship and when you like to look for interns, I guess?
So we target juniors going into senior year. It's a 10-week internship over the summer. It's paid, which is the best part. And then it's wherever you have housing for the summer. So the other part of TTI that we have not even mentioned is that we're nationwide. So that first role, talking about going to live somewhere else, that first role is nationwide. Wherever there's a Home Depot within the 50 states, so everywhere is where you can go. And same thing for that internship.
So for students, it may go home for the summer or something like
Exactly.
that, they could still
Yep.
do an internship.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And then what does it look like? I guess I just want to break it down
Yeah.
a tiny bit, but I assume they're exposed to the different facets. And do they have a mentor,
Yep.
coach, things like that?
Yep. So over those 10 weeks, you're partnered with that rep in the store. And we strategically do it to make sure it's a, advanced rep and that they're fantastic in the role, i.e. Victoria. So she has an intern for the summer, and the intern is doing their day-to-day, right? So learning what that role looks like if they were to join us full-time. And then during each week, they have a different project, which helps them dive into every facet of our
Nice.
company.
Okay.
So one week it's really sales-based. One week it's really marketing-based. This next week, they're doing their capstone project. So kind of doing
wow.
everything that reporting on everything they did. And my favorite project, which it's due this Friday, is it's the innovation project. So after hearing customers every single day, hey, Milwaukee's fantastic, but have y'all ever thought of making this product? You hear it every single day, and they get to create a product, and that's their
Ooh.
project.
It's so
And
fun.
we've seen some of these products come to light, which
Yeah.
is really, really cool. So then the goal is at the end of the internship, we fly them out to headquarters, interview them one last time, and then give them that job offer. So when they
Curious.
graduate, they have a job on the table,
Okay.
ready to come home to TTI.
Where is the headquarters then?
Yep. Good question. We have 2 headquarters. Our main one for, we call it R2, Ryobi and Rigid, is going to be in Greenville, South Carolina.
Okay.
So Anderson, South Carolina, it's
Mhm.
beautiful. And then Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So Brookfield, Wisconsin, obviously for Milwaukee.
Yeah. All right. That's a lot for students to hear.
Yeah.
And again, there's sometimes a lot of fear of the unknown
Yeah.
and expectations on students for internships. But it sounds like, hey, you're going to come into this great culture, excited, motivated, and really be your own boss, which to me is exactly what a student kind of might want. I would have loved to
Exactly.
have that opportunity
Yep.
and
Yeah.
to see different facets of a company
Yeah.
and be in charge of that and see where your career
Yeah.
might take you. So
Yeah.
excellent.
Just because it's a job doesn't mean we don't make it fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun. I've never been a homework girl, but with my intern, I've been loving this project he has to do. I've been so excited about it, and he gets excited about it. So we've just been like trying to bounce off ideas and just come up with it. And he has an amazing product. I'm not going to say it, but I think it's
Don't
going to
steal the
win.
thunder.
It's definitely going to win.
That's hilarious. All right, we won't tell. Maybe in a new
Maybe.
in a
Yeah.
follow-up podcast,
Season
we
8,
will
yeah,
release.
Season 8, we'll be back
release
with the new
where,
product.
where we're at with that product.
For sure.
All right, thank you.
This has been so wonderful. As you're talking with Jill, one of the big things I'm picking up on is this theme of mentorship. Mentorship with each other, right? Victoria, like you're being able to go to Stephanie and shadow her, and then with the intern. And so I think we talk about this on other episodes, but I think mentorship is just so huge and the power that has in building a strong culture. And so I think what I'm getting to see is there's just not just a powerful brand with TTI, but again, that culture that you were talking about at the start of the episode is very tangible
Supportive.
as we sit down with you both.
Yeah.
Just a couple of questions to wrap things up for today, but what do you both most enjoy about working at TTI?
Loaded question. I truly enjoy that. Again, no 2 days are the same. I'm constantly challenged. And yes, I've been in my role for 3.5 years, and I've been very successful with the company in just a short amount of time. But I love that even though I'm at the top and I'm keep on going and I want to keep pushing, there's always more. And there's always something new to challenge myself with. And that keeps me motivated. It keeps me hungry. I have reps that come in and work under me, and I get to figure out what's next for them and work with them. And kind of back to that culture piece, we always keep going back to it, but I describe our culture as competitive but collaborative, right? So it's not dog eat dog and pushing each other off the ladder to climb the corporate ladder. We're all trying to climb the corporate ladder, and we're all trying to get that next promotion and get that next title, but we're also helping each other out along the way. And I think, as cheesy as that sounds, that's what excites me. Look, every day's not great, and I can sit here and say I love my job and I love every second of it, but I'll be candid, there's days that suck and I'm like, this is terrible. But then I look and I say, nope, the bigger picture, I have a fantastic work culture and work environment. And I think that's what keeps me motivated every single day.
Yeah, I would basically say the same thing. Like the support factor is really what motivates me. Because I'm driven by motivation. I need motivation to keep me excited and keep me challenged. And my teammates, they challenge me, and we always shout each other out. You know, we're not trying to steal each other's ideas and steal each other's success. We want everyone to be successful. You know, like if somebody on my team makes a great sale, like we send it out to the company, you know, we send it out to the text group chat, and we're like, hey, look at this sale that so and so made. You know, we're always shouting each other out and always supporting each other and making each other feel good about ourselves. You know, I think that's something that everybody needs a little bit of, you know, encouragement and motivation.
I think it's easy to fixate on the negatives in life. You know, you look at Yelp for food reviews. Nobody ever takes the time to post a good one.
No.
They always tell you that the service was terrible and that the food took forever. They don't say when it was a fantastic meal and the server was fantastic. And I think that's what TTI does, is we are that positive Yelp review. We are, I don't know where my mind just went to think of that, but
that's so true.
We take time to recognize and acknowledge the good.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I think as I'm hearing the both of you, you are both very self-aware. And one of the notes I would make for our students is it's really important to understand those values. Because again, it comes back to this is how you can understand, like, what is the part that you love most about your job, right? What is the part that might be the most challenging part about your job, right? But again, it comes back to, you know, not every... all days are not going to have like 100% days, right? There are minutes and hours where they are grueling and you have to endure. And
life is challenging, especially adulting. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't like being an adult, but we all have to do it. You know?
Yeah.
It's just part of life. Life is not going to be easy all the time, but it's just about what you make of it. Glass half full perspective.
Love it.
Yeah.
So if there is one takeaway that you could give our students listening to today's podcast, what would each of you have students take away from today?
I would say put yourself out there. Try new things. Nothing is solidified. Nothing's in concrete. It's you might think it's written in the sand and in the stone, but it's not. And I think every single day you have a new page of the book to turn and write as your own. So put yourself out there, try the hard things, and be comfortable in the uncomfortable.
Yeah, I agree. I just recently graduated in May, and so I was a little bit older than a couple of the people in my classes, and a repetitive thing I kept hearing was just like, they're so afraid to try, you know, like if you're in a job and you don't like it and you don't see yourself going anywhere, then try something else, because that might not be for you, and then it's not only hurting you, but it's also hurting the company, you know? Like, you don't want to be somewhere you don't like to be and you don't feel like you're going to succeed in, so find something else to do. It's not a big deal, you know? Just try to be comfortable in the uncomfortable. Just get out there. Put yourself out there.
Yeah, I love it.
People love confidence. Be confident.
Confidence is key.
Confidence
I'll say
is
that.
key.
Fake it till you make it.
Exactly. Even if you think you're wrong, you're right. Always.
We're doing a confidence, communication and confidence workshop this fall.
I love that.
Excited for that. But yes, it's an essential skill that I think we need more of.
Yeah.
So thank you both so much. It has been so wonderful having you on set with us today. Thank you for listening. Special shout out to our folks at Innovative Education for producing this episode. Be sure to tune in on Apple, Spotify, and our Luma channel on YouTube. See you next time on Getting Down to Business.